The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets overhead as Arthur's voice cut through the emptying office. "Travis, hang back a minute. We need to talk." My heart slammed against my ribs, not from the overtime request. Hell, I'd pulled all-nighters for this job, but from the raw edge in his tone, like he was swallowing shards of glass. And then the door to his corner office swung shut behind us, sealing us in with the ghosts of unspoken truths. And in that split second, I knew nothing would ever be the same. I'd been at Hargrove & Associates for 2 years, grinding through spreadsheets and client pitches in the glass tower jungle of Chicago's Loop. The firm was one of those mid-tier ad agencies that pretended to be cutting edge. Think artisanal coffee in the break room and motivational posters about disrupting the status quo. I was the junior copywriter, the guy who turned buzzwords into gold, fresh out of Columbia with a backpack full of student loans and dreams of making it big. At 26, I was still figuring out how to adult without tripping over my own optimism. And Arthur? He was the creative director, 32, the golden boy everyone whispered about. Tall, with that effortless Ivy League polish, crisp button-downs that hugged his broad shoulders just right, hazel eyes that could pin you in a meeting or melt you with a casual smile. Married to Emily, some high society event planner from his undergrad days at Northwestern. Straight as an arrow, or so the water cooler gossip went. The kind of guy who high-fived bros at the Bears games and posted family pics from Lake Michigan vacations. Untouchable. But I'd been touching him in my head for months. It started innocently, a lingering glance during brainstorm sessions, the way his laugh rumbled low when I nailed a tagline. Late nights turning into this electric undercurrent, like static before a storm. I told myself it was nothing, just a crush on the boss, the ultimate cliché. I was out to my friends back in Brooklyn, had dated a couple guys in college, but here in the Midwest machine, I kept it zipped. Chicago was progressive on paper, pride parades down Halsted, rainbow flags fluttering from the L trains. But the office? It was a minefield of microaggressions and no-homo jokes disguised as team-building banter. I wasn't about to blow up my career for a what-if. That Friday in October, the air crisp with the promise of fall leaves crunching underfoot in Grant Park, the office had cleared out early for some Halloween kickoff happy hour at the Gauge. I was packing up my laptop, scrolling through Grindr out of boredom. Nothing serious, just window shopping, when Arthur appeared at my desk. His tie was loosened, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms dusted with that perfect amount of hair, and his cologne hit me like a wave. Sandalwood and something sharper, like ambition bottled up. "Travis," he said, leaning on the partition, voice pitched low so the stragglers wouldn't overhear. "Got a sec?" "My office." "Now." I nodded, throat dry, and followed him down the hall. The door clicked shut, and the world outside faded. The hum of printers, the distant clink of cocktail glasses. His office was a shrine to controlled chaos. Mood boards pinned with Polaroids from shoots in the Wrigleyville alleys, a sleek desk piled with mock-ups, and that massive window overlooking the Chicago River, where the sun dipped low, painting everything in bruised purples and golds. He didn't sit. Paced instead, hands raking through his dark hair, leaving it mussed in a way that made my stomach flip. Shit, this is harder than I thought. A pause, heavy as lead. "Emily's pregnant." The words landed like a sucker punch. I blinked, the room tilting. Pregnant? Emily, with her perfect bob haircut and Instagram feed of brunches at Alinea? The woman who'd cornered me at the company picnic last summer, gushing about how Arthur was the rock she never knew she needed. I'd smiled through gritted teeth, congratulating them while my chest caved in. "Congrats," I managed, voice steady by some miracle. "That's huge. You guys must be thrilled." His laugh was bitter, echoing off the glass. "Thrilled? Travis, I'm fucking terrified." He stopped pacing, leaned against his desk, gripping the edge like it was the only thing keeping him upright. We weren't even trying. It was one night after her sister's wedding. Too much champagne, bad decisions. And now, God, what if I'm not cut out for this? Fatherhood, the whole white picket fence bullshit. I shifted, unsure where this was going. Arthur never unloaded like this. He was the unflappable one, the guy who mediated client blow-ups with charm and a firm handshake. "You're gonna be great," I said, because what else do you say? "You've got that whole provider vibe down. Emily's lucky." He looked at me then, really looked, and it was like staring into a storm cloud, turbulent, electric. No, you don't get it. His voice dropped to a whisper, raw and unraveling. I don't want this life. Not with her. Not like this. My pulse thundered in my ears. What are you saying? He crossed the room in 2 strides, close enough that I could feel the heat radiating off him, smell that damn cologne mixed with the faint tang of sweat. His hand hovered near my arm, then dropped. I'm saying, I've been lying to everyone. To Emily, to the firm, to myself. For years. A breath, shaky. I'm gay, Travis. And the reason I asked you to stay? It's because I can't pretend anymore. Not around you. The air sucked out of the room. Gay. Arthur, straight arrow Arthur, was gay. And me? I was the reason. My mind reeled, flashing through every stolen glance, every accidental brush of shoulders in the elevator. It wasn't in my head. It was real. Terrifyingly, beautifully real. Arthur. Words failed me. Joy warred with panic, a cocktail of what-ifs bubbling up. What about Emily? The baby? His career, our careers? He stepped closer, eyes searching mine, desperate. Say something. Please. I've been carrying this secret like a goddamn anchor. Hiding behind barbecues and board meetings, dating women because that's what my dad expected. Be a man. Artie, settle down, give me grandkids. But every time I see you. Fuck, Travis, you light up this place. Your ideas, your laugh. You're the only one who sees through the bullshit. I swallowed hard, the weight of it crashing down. This was it. The door cracking open to something I dreamed of in the quiet hours, scrolling through his LinkedIn profile like a masochist. But it was laced with poison, betrayal, lies, a child on the way. This is insane, I whispered. You're married. Engaged to a life that's not yours. What happens now? His face crumpled, and for the first time, I saw the cracks in the facade, the man behind the manager. I don't know. Divorce her? Raise the kid alone. Tell my parents and watch them disown me. He laughed again, hollow. Or keep lying and turn into the monster I'm already halfway to being. We stood there, inches apart, the city skyline mocking us with its indifferent glitter. I wanted to pull him into a hug, to promise we'd figure it out. Therapy, support groups, the whole messy queer Chicago underground I'd barely tapped into. But fear clawed at me. What if this blew up? What if I was just a symptom of his crisis, a convenient outlet for a man drowning in denial? Tell me what you need, I said finally, my voice barely audible over the river's distant rush. He reached out, fingers brushing my wrist, electric, tentative. Stay? Just stay with me tonight. Not like that. Just talk. Help me not feel so alone. I nodded, because how could I not? In that moment, behind the office door, we weren't boss and employee. We were 2 guys staring down the barrel of truths too big to contain. Little did I know, that night would unravel everything. Secrets spilling like ink on wet paper, misunderstandings twisting like Chicago winds, and a betrayal so sharp it would carve us both open. We didn't talk long. Or maybe we did. Time blurred in the dim glow of his desk lamp. Words tumbling out like confessions in a dimly lit bar on Boys Town's main drag. Arthur paced, unspooling his life in jagged threads. The college hookups he'd buried under frat parties and engineering majors. The first time he'd kissed a guy at a study abroad in Berlin and sworn it was a one-off. The proposal to Emily, because it felt like the script everyone else was reading from. I love her in a way, he admitted, sinking into his leather chair, head in hands. She's my best friend. But not like this fire in my gut when you're around. I perched on the edge of his desk, legs dangling, fighting the urge to trace the lines of exhaustion etched around his eyes. Fire, huh? That's one way to put it. I tried for levity, but it fell flat. My own secrets bubbled up unbidden. The ex-boyfriend in New York who'd ghosted me after coming out to his Bible Belt family. The isolation of being the token gay kid in my high school debate club back in Ohio. I've been there. The hiding. It's like wearing a mask that chafes your soul raw. He looked up, gratitude flickering in those hazel depths. Exactly. And you? How do you do it? Walk in here every day, cracking jokes with the brothers, pitching campaigns like you own the room, all while carrying my own torch. I finished, heat rising in my cheeks. Practice. And therapy apps. And a killer playlist of show tunes when the loneliness hits. I paused, the vulnerability hanging heavy. But Arthur, this baby, that's not just your secret. It's a person. You can't just. I know. He stood abruptly, crossing to the window, silhouetted against the twinkling lights of Navy Pier in the distance. Ferris wheel cars spun lazy circles, oblivious to the drama unfolding 30 floors up. That's why I need time. To think. To plan. Emily doesn't suspect anything yet. She thinks my moods are stress from the Peterson account. But if I tell her, the if hung there, a guillotine blade. I slid off the desk, joining him at the glass. Our reflections overlapped, his taller frame, my slimmer build, two shadows merging in the night. You have to, I said softly. For all of us. Rip the Band-Aid. It's gonna hurt like hell, but the alternative? Rotting from the inside. He turned, so close our breaths mingled. What if I lose everything? The job, the house in Lincoln Park, my dignity? Then you rebuild. My hand found his shoulder, firm, reassuring. Muscle tensed under my palm, then relaxed, a small surrender. With people who see you, really see you. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to that touch. His eyes dropped to my lips, a question unspoken, and God, I wanted to answer it. But this wasn't some rom-com meet-cute. It was a powder keg with a lit fuse. Instead, I stepped back, breaking the spell. Let's get out of here. My place is closer than yours. Walk and talk. Clear heads. He nodded, grabbing his coat from the hook, a wool peacoat that screamed old money. We slipped out the back stairs, avoiding the lobby's nosy security guard, emerging into the chill October air. Michigan Avenue thrummed with Friday night energy. Cabs honking, couples bundled in scarves weaving toward dinner reservations, the bean reflecting a kaleidoscope of lights overhead. We walked in silence at first, shoulders brushing occasionally, the city a buffer against the intimacy we'd cracked open. My apartment was a third-floor walk-up in Wicker Park, the kind of place with exposed brick and rent that ate half my paycheck. Cozy, if you ignored the leaky faucet and the neighbors yapping Chiweenie. Posters of indie bands and a pride flag draped over the couch declared it mine, unapologetically. Arthur hesitated at the door, like crossing the threshold would make it all too real. Welcome to the chaos, I said, flicking on the lamp. The space glowed warm, string lights over the kitchenette, a half-read copy of Giovanni's Room on the coffee table. I brewed coffee, strong and black, handing him a mug as he sank onto the sofa, looking smaller than the man who commanded boardrooms. We talked till the sky lightened to pearl gray. He spilled more, the terror of his father's homophobic rants at Thanksgiving dinners, the guilt gnawing at him for stringing Emily along. I shared my fears, of never finding the partnership my parents had, of the queer community feeling like an exclusive club I hadn't aced the entry exam for. Laughter crept in too, tentative, stories of disastrous first dates, the absurdity of corporate wellness seminars that preached authenticity while we all faked it. By dawn, exhaustion claimed us. He dozed on the couch, tie discarded, lashes fanned against his cheeks. I watched him a moment, heart aching with a tenderness I'd never voiced. This could be the start of something real, I thought, or the end of everything we knew. But secrets have a way of festering. And Arthur's? It wasn't just his to carry. The next morning hit like a freight train, sun slicing through the blinds, the scent of stale coffee lingering, and Arthur stirring with a groan that echoed my own hangover of emotions. He sat up, rubbing his face, eyes bloodshot but clearer, like the night's purge had scrubbed away some grime. Travis, last night. That was real? I cut in, from the kitchenette where I was scrambling eggs to avoid his gaze. And necessary. But we can't just drop it. What's the plan? He stood, stretching, shirt untucked and rumpled in a way that made him look human, approachable. First, coffee. Black. Then, I tell Emily. Tonight. Dinner at home, no distractions. His voice steadied, resolve hardening. And you, I want to do this right. Date you. Properly. Once the dust settles. My spatula froze mid-flip. Date. The word hung sweet, forbidden. Arthur, slow down. You're still married. There's a kid. I know. He crossed to me, hands on the counter bracketing mine, caging me in without touching. Close enough to feel his warmth, to see the stubble shadowing his jaw. But I've wasted enough time. You're worth the risk. Breakfast was awkward bliss. Eggs burnt on one side, toast uneven, But we ate like it was gourmet, knees bumping under the tiny table. He left with a promise, text updates, and a chaste kiss on my cheek that seared like a brand. I watched him descend the stairs, coat slung over his shoulder, disappearing into the bustle of Damon Avenue. Hipsters queuing for intelligentsia, bikes whizzing past. Work that Monday was a tightrope. The office buzzed with post-weekend chatter, someone's Tinder horror story, the Bears' latest fumble, but Arthur and I orbited like planets afraid of collision. Stolen glances over monitors, his foot nudging mine under the conference table during the 10 a.m. huddle. By lunch, my phone vibrated. Dinner went south. She's furious. Staying at her sister's. Need you. My shift ended in a blur. I bolted to his place in Lincoln Park, a brownstone that screamed stability. Ivy climbing the facade, a stoop lined with pumpkins for the impending Halloween. He answered the door disheveled, button down open over a tee, eyes rimmed red. She hates me, he said by way of greeting, pulling me inside. The living room was a war zone. Throw pillows scattered, a half-empty wine glass tipped on the coffee table. Emily's touch was everywhere, framed photos of them at weddings, a knit throw in pastels. I felt like an intruder, but Arthur collapsed onto the couch, patting the spot beside him. Pour yourself a drink. Long story. Over bourbon, his, smooth and oaky, he recounted the implosion. Dinner started civil. Pasta primavera, candlelight flickering. Then the bomb. I have to be honest. I'm gay, and I can't do this marriage. Her fork clattered, face paling to ghost white. Accusations flew. Liar, coward, how long? He confessed the full weight, sparing no details, and she shattered a plate against the wall, shards skittering like accusations. She said the baby's a trap now. He whispered, voice cracking, that I'm abandoning us both. Guilt twisted in my gut. This was my fault. In a way, my presence the catalyst. Did you tell her about me? He shook his head. Not yet. That's for later. When it's not a weapon. His hand found mine, squeezing. But Travis, this is it. Papers drawn up next week. Therapy for co-parenting. I'm free. Free. The word tasted like possibility, but laced with ash. We spent the evening mapping logistics. Divorce lawyers from Yelp reviews. OBGYN appointments he'd attend solo. Laughter crept in again, absurd. Imagining custody battles over who got the vintage Cubs memorabilia. By midnight, he was asleep against my shoulder, breath even, and I didn't move, savoring the weight of him, the quiet domesticity that felt stolen. The weeks blurred into a fragile rhythm. Arthur moved into a sublet in Old Town, cozy, minimalist, with a view of the L rattling by. We grabbed covert coffees at Dollop, walks in Washington Square Park where fallen leaves crunched underfoot like whispered secrets. No kisses yet, just hands brushing, eyes locking in crowded coffee shops. It was courtship distilled, texts at 2 a.m. about bad dreams, voice memos of him humming Sinatra tunes from his runs along the lakefront. But cracks formed. Emily's texts to him were daggers. How could you do this to our child? HR whispers at work turned pointed. Someone had seen him leaving my building at dawn that first morning. And me? Paranoia gnawed. Every sidelong glance from a coworker felt like judgment. Every family call home a reminder of normalcy I was appending. Then the misunderstanding hit, like a Chicago gale. It was mid-November, gray skies, spitting sleet, when Arthur canceled our planned movie night. Family emergency. Dad's in town early. I shrugged it off, dove into a freelance pitch instead. But scrolling Instagram late, I froze. A story from Emily's account, geotagged at the gauge. Arthur, arm around her waist, laughing over martinis, caption, reconnecting. For the baby. Family first. My stomach plummeted. Reconnecting? After the divorce talk? I refreshed, heart hammering. More pics, them toasting, her head on his shoulder. A lie? Or worse, regret? I fired off a text, saw the posts. What's going on? No reply. Called voicemail. By dawn, fury boiled over. He was playing me, using the confession as a midlife itch, scratching it before crawling back to safety. I stormed into work, avoiding his office, burying myself in revisions. He cornered me at the copier at noon, face ashen. Travis, it's not. Save it. I yanked the pages free, voice ice. Family first, right? Go be the good husband. I'll handle my own heart. He grabbed my arm. pulling me into the supply closet. Ironic, the trope made flesh. Listen, her dad's in from Boston, pressuring her to reconcile. He cornered me at dinner. Old school guilt trip, Bible quotes, and threats to cut her off. I went to support her as a friend. Nothing more. Bullshit. The word echoed in the cramped space, shelves of toner cartridges boxing us in. Arm around her. Toasts. You looked cozy. Hurt flashed in his eyes. I was buffering, keeping the peace for the kid. But you, God, Travis, you're the one I want. He stepped closer, voice pleading. Trust me. Please. I wanted to. Desperately. But doubt was a venom, spreading fast. How can I? You've hidden so much already. What if this is just another layer? He recoiled like I'd slapped him. After everything, I laid my soul bare for you. And now it's Instagram perfect with her. Tears pricked, hot, and unwelcome. I can't be the side story, Arthur. Not again. The door banged open, Jan from accounting, oblivious, grabbing staples. We sprang apart, the moment fracturing. He left without another word, and I spent the afternoon numb, pitching ideas that fell flat. That night, alone in my apartment, regret crashed in. I'd pushed too hard, assumed the worst from pixels and fear. But pride held me back. No texts, no calls. Days stretched into a cold war, polite nods in hallways, emails clipped and professional. The office holiday party loomed, a minefield of eggnog and mistletoe. Emily dropped the real bomb a week later. She showed up at my door unannounced, petite, fierce, bundled in a parka, snowflakes melting in her hair. We need to talk, she said, pushing past before I could protest. I led her to the kitchen, kettle whistling nervously. Emily, if this is about Arthur. It is. She perched on a stool, eyes sharp as Lake Michigan ice. He's spiraling because of you. Thinks he's in love, but it's destroying him. The divorce? It's off. For the baby's sake. My world tilted. Off. He said. I know what he said. Her voice softened, edged with pain. But seeing him last week, pretending, it reminded me why we fell in love. Friends first, always. And this? It's a phase. Midlife confusion. Phase. The word gutted me. You don't know him. Not like I. I know enough. She stood, handing me a photo, ultrasound printout, grainy blob labeled Baby Hargrove, 12 weeks. He's scared, Travis. Of losing this. Of being the villain. Don't make him choose. She left, the door clicking like a verdict. I crumpled to the floor, photo clutched in fist, sobs racking me. Villain? No, that was me. The other man, the complication. Arthur's texts piled up unread. Talk to me. Please. But I couldn't. The misunderstanding had metastasized, fed by her words, my insecurities. December descended like a shroud. Holiday lights strung across State Street. Carols blaring from every corner. But joy felt distant, muffled by the blizzard brewing in my chest. Arthur and I coexisted in professional purgatory. Meetings where our eyes met across tables like crossed wires, sparking but never connecting. He'd slimmed down, shadows under his eyes from sleepless nights. I'd armored up, burying hurt in overtime and runs along the frozen lakefront, breath fogging in the sub-zero air. The office party was at the Palm Court in the Drake Hotel. Glittering chandeliers, jazz trio crooning, White Christmas, waiters circulating trays of shrimp cocktail and champagne flutes. I arrived late, Ty Askew, determined to fake festivity. Arthur was already there, cornered by partners, Emily on his arm in a red sheath dress that screamed reconciliation. She laughed at his jokes, hand possessive on his elbow, and he played along, charm dialed to 11. But his eyes found mine across the room, pleading, and I turned away, punching down a Boilermaker at the bar. Jan sidled up, tipsy and conspiratorial. You okay, Trav? You and Arthur seem off. Like Mad Men tension off. Fine. I muttered, clinking glasses. Just holiday blues. She leaned in, breath Scotch sweet. Bull. I saw you two that night in the closet. Spill. Panic flared. What? She winked. Supply closet. Looked intense. If it's office romance drama, count me Team Travis. Emily's nice, but Arthur's always seemed fenced in. Her words unlocked something, a sliver of hope amid the wreckage. Maybe I wasn't crazy. Maybe this wasn't a phase. But before I could probe, Arthur approached, Emily trailing like a shadow. "Travis, great work on the Peterson revisions," he said, voice formal, but his fingers brushed mine, exchanging a business card. "Wait, no, a folded note. Rooftop. 10 minutes, truth." My pulse raced. Emily smiled tightly, oblivious or not. "Merry Christmas, Travis. Arthur speaks so highly of you." Same. The word tasted like lies. 10 minutes later, I slipped upstairs, past velvet ropes to the hotel's private terrace. Overlooking Lakeshore Drive, snowflakes swirling in the wind like confetti from a broken promise. He was there, coatless, shivering against the railing, city lights haloing him in neon blues and golds. "You came." Relief flooded his face. Note was dramatic. I shoved hands in pockets, wind whipping my scarf. "What's the truth, Arthur? Emily says the divorce is off. That this, us, is a phase." His jaw clenched. "She told you that? Jesus." He raked fingers through hair frosted with snow. "It's her fear talking. Her dad's leaning hard. Don't throw away a good man for a mistake." But I shut it down. Told her last night. It's over. For real. Papers filed Monday. Hope flickered, fragile. Then why the posts? The arm around waist act. Damage control. He stepped closer, breath clouding between us. Her family's in town, sniffing around for scandal. I played the part to buy time, keep the peace till the ink dries. But Travis, every fake smile killed me. Because it's you I see in the mornings, you I want handing me that ultrasound pic one day, maybe. The image hit. Us, co-parenting? A future painted in maybes. And Emily? The baby. We'll co-parent. Civil. She's strong. She'll land on her feet. His hand emerged from his pocket, offering a key, cold metal, etched with sublet 3B. "Move in with me. After. Build something real." Tears stung, freezing on lashes. "I want to believe you. But the hiding. It broke something." "I know." Voice raw. He closed the gap, forehead pressing to mine. Gentle, grounding. Snow dusted our shoulders, the jazz faint below. "Let me fix it. Starting now. No kiss, just that touch, profound as any." Vulnerability hung, a bridge over the chasm. I nodded, whispering, "Okay. Try." Christmas Eve, he showed up at my door with a tree. Charlie Brown scraggly, but strung with lights and ornaments scavenged from a corner bodega. We decorated in my cramped living room, tinsel tangling fingers, laughter bubbling as we recounted childhood holidays. His in the WASP suburbs of Winnetka, mine in Rust Belt Cleveland with Mom baking pierogies till the house smelled like home. No gifts, just presents. His head on my lap as we watched It's a Wonderful Life on my ancient TV, George Bailey's despair mirroring our own recent dips. But peace was fleeting. New Year's brought the storm. Arthur's parents arrived unannounced. His dad, a retired exec with a handshake like a vice and opinions sharper than lake effect winds. His mom, elegant in pearls, eyes kind but wary. They stayed at the sublet to support him through this rough patch, as she put it over brunch at Wildberry Pancakes. I met them accidentally, dropping off client files, finding the door ajar. Dad's voice boomed from the kitchen. "Son, this divorce nonsense? Over a little confusion? Emily's family has connections. Don't torture future for impulses." Arthur's reply was muffled, strained. "It's not confusion, Dad. It's who I am." Mom chimed in, softer. "We love you, Artie. But think of the scandal. The firm. And that poor girl, pregnant." I froze in the hall, files clutched like a shield. Impulses. Scandal. The words echoed Emily's, a chorus of judgment. Slipping out unseen, I wandered the snowy streets, gut churning. Was I the impulse? The torch to his future? That night, he called, frantic. They cornered me. Dad pulled the disinherit card, trust funds, the works. Mom cried, said I was breaking the family. And my voice cracked over the line. I told them the truth. About you. Us. A pause, heavy. They left. Flew back to Boston. Dad said don't call till I come to my senses. Sympathy warred with rage, at them, at the world that made love a battlefield. Arthur, this is too much. Maybe we pump the brakes. No. Fierce, unyielding. This is the cost. And you're worth every penny. But doubt lingered, a shadow. The pregnancy news escalated. Emily's morning sickness hit hard, landing her in the ER with dehydration. Arthur rushed to her side. Nights at the hospital while I paced my apartment, imagining them bonding over monitors and sonograms. Text from him. She's okay. Scared. But she asked about you. Said thanks for being his friend. Friend. The demotion stung. Then the controversy erupted. A leaked email, anonymous, vicious, circulated through the firm. Creative director Hargrove's personal issues, compromising Peterson deal. Distraction? Or distraction with junior staff? Fingers pointed at me, whispers turning to stares. Jan pulled me aside. It's bullshit, but HR's sniffing. Watch your back. Paranoia peaked. Was it Emily? A vengeful coworker? Arthur? No, impossible. But trust frayed, threads pulling loose. The climax shattered on a sleety February night. I'd been dodging his calls, holing up with takeout pho and true crime pods, when he pounded on my door. Travis, open up. We need to. I yanked it wide, fury spilling. What now? Another family crisis? Or did Emily change her mind again? His face, bruised, lips split, eyes swelling purple. Jesus, what happened? I gasped, pulling him in. Fight. He winced, sinking onto the couch. With Dad. He showed up at the sublet, drunk, ranting about fixing me. Conversion therapy pamphlets, threats to out me to the board. I told him to leave. He swung. Horror choked me. Arthur. It woke me up. He grabbed my hands, knuckles bloodied. No more half measures. I'm telling the firm. Coming out. All in. But as he spoke, my phone buzzed. Voicemail from an unknown. Emily. Voice trembling. Travis, he's lying to you. The fight? Staged. He confessed. He's staying with me. For the baby. It was all a game to explore. Don't let him break you like he broke me. The room spun. Staged? Game. Betrayal. Sharp as the sleet lashing the window. Is it true? I demanded, thrusting the phone at him. His eyes widened, denial flashing. What? No, God, no. Listen to me. Explore. The word poisoned the air. Was I your experiment? The straight guy's gay awakening, till reality bit. Travis, stop. He stood, desperate. That's her hurt talking. Manipulation. I love. Don't. Tears hot, I backed away. Get out. Before you destroy us both. He left, doors slamming like finality. Alone, I shattered, sobs echoing in the empty space. The key he'd given me mocking from the counter. Betrayal wasn't just possible, it was prophecy. Spring clawed its way through Chicago's concrete veins. Crocuses pushing defiantly from planters along the Mag Mile. The air thawing to that muddy promise of renewal. But I was frozen, encased in ice that no lake breeze could melt. Work became survival. Head down, pitches polished to distraction, avoiding Arthur's office like it was cursed ground. He tried. Flowers delivered to my desk, roses, bold and red, yanked and trashed, emails laced with please, we can fix this. Hear me out. I deleted, blocked, built walls higher than the Willis Tower. Emily's voicemail looped in my nightmares, her words a siren song of doubt. I confronted her once, outside a prenatal yoga class in Bucktown, her belly a gentle swell under leggings, face serene but eyes guarded. Was it true? I demanded, voice raw in the parking lot drizzle. She sighed, hand protective over the bump. Not like that. He wavered, scared of the unknown. Told me he needed time to think. But Travis, he's choosing us. Stability. You were. The dream he couldn't afford. Dream. The demotion to fantasy gutted deeper than any lie. I walked away, rain soaking through, vowing silence. No more bridges to burn. I'd torch them all. Arthur's coming out hit the firm like a thunderclap. An all-hands email at 9 a.m. sharp. Team, I've been living inauthentically. I'm gay, and I'm ending my marriage to Emily for honesty. Not just for me, but for all of us. Hargrove stands for bold stories. Mine starts now. Open door if you want to talk. The office fell silent, then erupted. Hugs from Jan, awkward pats from the old guard. HR scrambling with sensitivity, training memos. He looked lighter that day, suit sharp, smile genuine as he fielded questions in the break room. Our eyes met across the coffee urn, his held apology, mine steel. I nodded, professional courtesy, and escaped to the stairwell, chest tight. Pride swelled for him, tingled with ache. He'd leaped. I'd been pushed off the cliff. The baby arrived in late April. Eleanor Grace Hargrove, 7 pounds even, red-faced, and squalling under the harsh lights of Prentice Women's Hospital. Arthur texted the news to the team group chat. She's here. Mom and baby strong. Grateful for this family. No personal note to me. I stared at the photo he attached, tiny fist curled, his finger dwarfing it, and wept in my cubicle, pretending allergies. Summer simmered in, humid and unrelenting, the city pulsing with festivals. Taste of Chicago's greasy joy, Pitchfork's indie anthems thumping from Grant Park. I threw myself into life. Dates with a barista named Micah, all easy smiles and no baggage. Brunches with queer friends from the center on Halsted, swapping stories of resilience over mimosas. Therapy unpacked the wreckage. You weren't the experiment, Travis. You were the mirror he feared. Arthur faded to periphery, promoted to VP, his campaigns winning Clio Awards, headlines and adage touting Hargrove's brave new voice. I heard whispers. He bought a place in Andersonville, Rainbow District Haven, hosting low-key barbecues with chosen family. Emily thrived too. New job at a nonprofit, co-parenting seamless, playdates in Lincoln Park Zoo where giraffes loomed like benevolent giants. The unexpected climax brewed on a sticky July evening, Lollapalooza weekend, when the air hummed with bass from distant stages. I was at a rooftop party in Logan Square, string lights swaying, craft IPAs flowing, laughter cutting through the heat. Micah was there, hand warm on my back, but my mind wandered to what-ifs. Then Arthur appeared, uninvited, weaving through the crowd like a ghost made flesh. Jeans and a faded Pixies tee, hair longer, sun-streaked, casual, unguarded. Our eyes locked, the party blurred to static. Travis. Voice rough, edged with nerves. Can we talk? 5 minutes. Micah tensed beside me. Everything cool? Yeah. I squeezed his hand, then followed Arthur to the railing. City sprawl unrolling below. Fireworks popping early over the lake, reds and blues blooming like bruises. He leaned on the iron, gripping till knuckles whitened. I saw you with him. Happy. Getting there. Honesty, unvarnished. You? Eleanor smiles now. Full gummy ones. Kills me every time. A beat. But I'm not. Not without you. Anger flared, old embers. Don't. You chose. I chose wrong. Words rushed, torrent. Emily's voicemail. Hacked. Her ex, bitter from their split. He doctored it, sent it to stir shit. Cops confirmed last month. And the fight with Dad? Real as hell, broken ribs, restraining order. I never wavered, Travis. It was you always. But I was too scared to fight for it right. Proof tumbled from his pocket. Police report, time-stamped. A letter from Emily, handwritten. I was wrong to poison it. He loves you fiercely. Let him prove it. For all our sakes. The world tilted, revelations crashing. Hacked. Doctored. The misunderstandings, the betrayals, they unraveled like cheap yarn. Fury at the injustice boiled, then softened to empathy. For him, battling demons I could only imagine. For Emily, navigating her own grief. For us, collateral in a war of fears. Why now? I whispered, wind tugging at us. Because life's short. Eleanor's here, demanding I live authentically. For her, too. His hand hovered, then cupped my cheek, thumb brushing a tear I hadn't felt. And because I fan no at myself every day for letting you go. Come back. Or let me chase you till you believe. The rooftop party thrummed behind. But here, fireworks arcing, his touch anchor. We were timeless. Anger ebbed, empathy flooded. For the boy he'd buried, the man emerging scarred but whole. I leaned in, forehead to his. An echo of that snowy night, but warmer, sure. Chase. But slow. We've got time. He nodded, smile breaking, sunrise after storm. No kiss, not yet. That was for tomorrow's. But as we rejoined the crowd, hands brushing tentative, I felt it. The humanistic pull, love not as fairy tale but forge, hammering us stronger, flawed and fierce. Months later, fall gilded the city again, leaves carpeting the paths in Washington Square, Eleanor toddling between us on chubby legs, her giggles a bridge. Arthur and I built cautious. Therapy doubles, brunches with Emily, awkward at first, then allied, his parents thawing with grandbaby photos. Betrayal scarred, But they taught. Trust earned in increments. Conflicts aired like laundry. On a crisp November eve, rooftop of his Andersonville brownstone, we stood close, city lights winking, his arm around my waist. "Worth the stun?" he murmured, breath warm on my neck. Every shattered piece. I turned, finally bridging the gap, lips meeting soft, real, a promise etched in starlight. Chicago spun on, indifferent witness. We'd clawed through rage and regret, emerging not unbroken, but mended, human, loving, alive.